In this part of the Develop module, we're actually going to look more at the lens corrections part of correcting an image. This is an image that I took at Union Station. So I'm going to go in and do the white balance. Now notice when I click here on this white column that the image turns to blue, and that's because the image, and let me just reset that part of it was being lit by the light bouncing off these warm tiles. So the truth is that wasn't a part of the building that's outside make my white balance there, and that's actually a more realistic area. I'm going to bring up the shadows to see quite nicely in them, bring down the highlights. I want to make sure I don't overdo it since this area outside should feel brighter than the interior area. And now I'm going to go down to, and I would probably normally do other changes, but I want to show you what lens corrections are. So my navigator to kind of fine tune where I'm going. And it may be difficult to see this on your screen, but this image was shot with a wide angle lens and right here at the edges, and you're going to have what happens at the edges of a wide angle shot that's done digitally is that the colors can actually start to shift, and that's called chromatic aberration. We go into lens corrections and you can, and I'm going to go over to where it says color, click on remove chromatic aberration. Now that may be in different places in different versions, but that's the thing you're looking for. And I don't know if you could see that right in this area along here. I'm going to uncheck it. You'll see there's kind of a green line. Recheck it, and that disappeared. The second thing I want to do is remove any issues related to fringing. And fringing refers to when you have a very high contrast area and you'll almost get like a little line of a color right along. Maybe it might be your inside and there's a window. I'm going to go over to the navigator and zoom in a bit more. So in this defringe area, I have an eyedropper, and I'm going to try and find that fringe color. It's usually a pink, and you'll see that your eyedropper will actually fill with that pink color. When that happens, it means it's found it. You then simply go over to the amount and move that line. Now on your screen it might be difficult to see this detail, but when you're doing it yourself, you're going to see that along this area that line of color just disappeared. And so that's one way to work with it. And we also have, if you have a different color fringing, we have that. But for me, most of the time it is sort of a high magenta. I'm going to zoom back out. We then have, if you have some lens distortions or you need to rotate. So one of the first things you could do with a wide angle lens, it had a little bit of bowing. Going over to manual, that would actually let you continue that process if you felt it needed more corrections. But that's the basics of lens corrections. If you're getting some vignetting, you can go down to lens vignetting and either lighten those edges or darken them. If you're adding that as a special effect though, you do that in this area of effects. And so then the next part would be if we have issues related to, is there some noise? And even though this was shot during the day, it was at a semi-high high ISO, and so I did pick up some noise. So you'd simply go into the detail area. We're going to do some noise reduction. You don't want to overdo it, so you balance too much of that luminance correction, you get a mushy image. It kind of starts to lose areas, and if you go too high on the detail, it brings the problem out again. The last part I want to show you then are these specific corrections. Before we did global corrections, now we're going to do local ones, and that'll be in the next recording.